Good morning and welcome to the Haven Financial Group radio show. I'm Larry Kalvig, founder and CEO of the Haven Financial Group. Again, thanks for listening this morning. We got guest Mitch Moss on today, a retirement advisor at Haven. We're going to talk to him about Social Security, something that is top of everybody's minds, or at least should be, because it's a big part of Social Security. And once again, great to be with you.
It is great to be with you as well. And Mitch, it's so wonderful to have you. And I know that Larry's been anxious to get you on to talk about Social Security. That's sort of your area of expertise, I know. So we're going to look forward to hearing from you. Let's give everybody a sense of what's coming up today, how Social Security is taxed, lower inflation and Social Security. Then we're going to talk about the Social Security COLA and your retirement. And then finally, we'll wrap this show up a little bit later with some of the updates for Social Security in 2025. Larry, you said it best. Social Security, when it comes to retirement, is sort of where it all starts.
It really does. It's the number one income stream for retired Americans, and oftentimes people take it very lightly. You know, everybody turns it on at 62. Well, we think it should have a lot more thought put into it. Ultimately, is it 62 or 65 or 70 or anything in between? It should be an educated decisions, and it's why we teach a lot of Social Security classes. Just this last week, we had some that were very full, very well attended, because people want to learn. They should learn. And then I'm sure Mitch will talk about when people do come in, they'll leave Haven with a Social Security maximization report that people find very, very beneficial.
Absolutely. Terrific. Well, again, Mitch, it's great to have you. And I think we'll just start with you, if you don't mind. First off, Social Security, it certainly is a great safety net out there. Unfortunately, a lot of people have started to base their entire retirement on Social Security. And I feel confident that you have people who come in and say, well, I'm not so worried about it because I've got my Social Security that's going to start coming. Talk to us about what you say to clients who are depending so much on Social Security payments.
Well, thank you again for having me. I appreciate it. And just as Larry said, Social Security is the number one income stream for retired Americans. And those folks that, tend to be, relying mostly on Social Security, the goal is we want to maximize that out. Because again, you hear so often, hey, I'm going to collect it at 62 in a month, which is the earliest time that you can collect Social Security. And then we start to really look at that and we say, well, is that really the best option for you? Because it's about a 25% pay cut from your full retirement age at 62, as opposed to waiting till, say, 67, which is everybody born after 1960 now. Full retirement age is 67. So we want to kind of look at that. And then again, if those folks need additional income or more funds in retirement, a lot of times we look at, well, are you going to continue to work past 67? Or is there reasons to delay? Because again, it's starting to grow. And if those folks that take it at 70 are really folks that kind of have to take it at 70 to get the most they can out of that Social Security benefit.
Mm-hmm. So one of the things that I think a lot of people don't realize is that there is a portion of Social Security that is taxed. So let's walk through that if we could, because that may play a really big role for a lot of people about when they start to draw. So walk us through which portion is taxable and who might be affected.
Well, everybody's going to be taxed at some point. Right now, there's a very limited amount of people that will not be taxed. So if your single income's under 32,000, there will be no tax on your Social Security adjusted gross, and couples under 44, right? So we want to start looking at that. Again, you want to take into consideration, obviously, with any tax professional, your CPA, you want to adjust with them as well to see how much of it. But 15% of your Social Security tax or Social Security benefit is never taxable. But up to 85% of that benefit will be taxable at the federal level. And we're talking the federal level right now. So if your adjusted gross income as couples is over $44,000, up to 85% of that benefit will be taxed.
Okay. So does that change, or is there a better way to calculate that depending on your age and when you start to draw?
That it's really based on the income, not age.
Okay. All right. And does that include survivor spouse benefits?
It includes any Social Security benefit you have, plus any qualified distributions from retirement funds. So they're talking about your adjusted gross income, right? So all the income streams that you take, distributions from IRAs, et cetera, those are going to count towards your income stream. So it's not just the base Social Security.
Mitch Moss is our guest. He is a retirement specialist with Haven Financial Group. So let's talk about what you say to your clients when they come in about this taxable income and how you maximize for them to make sure that, it doesn't affect them in such a negative way.
Well, again, there's not a lot we can do with the thresholds that they have, which really haven't been adjusted with cost of living for the last 20 plus odd years. They're really low thresholds as far as the taxable base. So we want to make sure that, people say, well, I want to reduce my taxable exposure to Social Security. Well, most of my clients are living on average of $50,000, $60,000 a year. So it's really hard to necessarily get below those taxable thresholds. So as far as limiting that, it's really tough to do unless they start changing the thresholds on the taxable base.
So I would think that probably your advice would be to start looking at other ways to protect yourself from tax because your Social Security is going to be taxed.
Correct. So, if we're really worried about, a lot of times when clients take their Social Security or something before full retirement age, we say, well, maybe we should live off a little bit of the Roth, something that doesn't qualify for income, so we can lower thresholds as far as tax going that direction. But again, it's really lifestyle. Now, if you're fortunate enough that you have everything in a non-qualified account and you're pulling from those funds, a lot of your Social Security won't be taxable because we can keep those thresholds below a certain threat level.
So, Cam, if I could add,
Sure.
Taxes are a big discussion. We have lots of discussion because it really does matter where you draw from. Is it pre-tax accounts? Is it a savings account? What type of it is it? And when we say taxing of Social Security, it's a progressive tax, 0% up to 50%, up to 85%. It's not all of it is going to be taxed at 85%, but it really does matter. And I want to point out, we're here in Minnesota, and we've been discussing the federal taxation, but we're one of 9 states right now as of 2025 that does tax it, depending upon what your income is. The state of Minnesota did make a change here last summer. So if you're under a certain threshold of I think it's 105,000 and change if you're married, and 82 adjusted gross income, you won't be taxed at the state level. And if you're wondering what states are in addition to that, it's Colorado, Connecticut, Montana, New Mexico, Rhode Island, Utah, and Vermont, as well as West Virginia. So you're probably thinking, maybe I'm going to move to South Dakota, Arizona, Florida, and I get it. However, I always caution people, make sure you check out the applicable taxes in those states because different states have different taxes. So it comes back to this. Have a partner that talks about taxes. Lance is our in-house CPA. We're in the middle of tax season. But this tax planning is an ongoing annual thing. It's throughout the course of the year. Again, to make sure that you understand the tax code, where you draw from. And that's where we at Haven Financial Group, we really want to be part of that discussion. Just this week, as every week, we have folks that come in that haven't been given the attention. And it shows up with, oh, my goodness, we owe a bunch of money. Oh, my goodness, nobody told us to withhold more. You know what? Have a good partner that you can lean on so you're not trying to do it all yourself.
And Mitch, let me just ask you one final question on the taxation. Do you find that you have people who come in and say, listen, I'm ready to draw Social Security, and then when you start to walk them through this is a determining factor about when they're going to draw? Maybe they decide, I'm not ready to take that income if it's going to be taxed at this point?
Absolutely, especially with those folks that are still working and they come in and they say, you know what, maybe I'm going to double dip a little bit and grab that Social Security to pay off maybe some debt or some things like that. And I go, well, you're at this tax bracket. You add the Social Security benefit on top of that. Now you're going to be pushing into another tax bracket. Maybe we should earn those delayed credits on Social Security because the interest they might be saving to pay down a little bit of debt isn't going to offset the tax charge that they're going to hit.
Yeah, absolutely. All the more reason to sit down with experts like the two of you to talk about when is the best time to draw, when you realize that not only are you maybe leaving some benefits on the table, but you also might be facing a tax issue that you don't want to face. If this all sort of rings a bell with you and you've got some questions about Social Security, any questions about Social Security, and certainly about taxes related to Social Security, Haven Financial Group's number is 612-504-8400. 612-504-8400. They teach Social Security classes on a regular basis throughout the metropolitan area there. You can go to havenfinancialgroup.com to find out when one of those seminars are going to be held, one of those classes, to learn a little bit more and get some answers to some of the questions that you may have. Don't have to be a client, and they are free, but you do need to sign up. All right, gentlemen, when we come back, let's talk a little bit more about lower inflation in Social Security, how that affects people's benefits. You're listening to the Haven Financial Group radio show.